is the 13th day of October 2021. Welcome to TV Africa News and thank you for always joining us. This is Africa Today. My name is Najima Luima, but first are the headlines. Parliament moves to revise fines in criminal matters. I will not be pressured to reopen schools, says Museveni. International Court of Justice rules in favor of Somalia in Kenya border dispute. And in sports, Uganda government rewards all Olympians at Tokyo 2020 Games with cash. A warm welcome once again. Now the news in detail. The Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee has embarked on the process of scrutinizing the new instruments intended to revise fines and other financial amounts in criminal matters. We have more. The chairperson of the Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee, Robina Rakojo, said the committee is now tasked to come up with the final amount of fines to be imposed on people that have been found guilty on 68 counts. On October 5th, government through the Deputy Attorney General, Jackson Kabafuzi, introduced new instruments of power to Parliament, asking it to revise the fines and other financial amounts in criminal matters. Rakojo said the revision of the fines has been necessitated by several factors, including inflation. The instrument, according to Rakojo, has provisions that will lead to a translation of some fines into a period of imprisonment once found guilty. The committee will also be scrutinizing the Just Retabled Succession Amendment Bill 2021, where focus will be put on the clauses that the President asked Parliament to reconsider. According to Museveni's letter to the Speaker of Parliament, the President wants judicial officers retain the powers of determining on how a couple that has separated is supposed to share their property. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has warned teachers to stop comparing teenage pregnancies among school-going girls to the effect of COVID-19. Museveni warned teachers not to compare teenage pregnancies to COVID-19. We have more on this report with Nalugo.
While speaking at the belated National Teachers' Day celebrations at Kololo Independence Grounds on Tuesday, President Yoweri Museveni advised teachers and key players in the education sector to stop pressuring him to reopen schools. Museveni also told the stakeholders to stop using threats while responding to Philbert Baguma, the head of the National Teachers Union, who highlighted on challenges faced by both teachers and students during the closure. Baguma noted that the continued closure of schools has increased pregnancy cases in teenagers who are locked up in their respective homes. According to Museveni, schools will remain closed until January 2022, when all teachers and non-teaching staff are vaccinated against the deadly COVID-19. Museveni added that no amount of lost time is greater than lost lives. He also told the teachers how he lost over 13 years while fighting for Uganda's freedom. The furious Museveni further cautioned the stakeholders to stop comparing pregnancies, lost time and jobs to life, while insisting that the schools will remain closed until next year. According to statistics from the Ministry of Education and Sports, 60% of teachers have been fully vaccinated.
Uganda will on Friday 15th October 2021 join the rest of the world to commemorate the International Day for Rural Women under the theme The Vital Role that Rural Women Play in Climate Action in recognition of the role of women in development. Kachanchi reports.
Addressing the press today at the Uganda Media Center in Kampala, the State Minister for Gender, Labour and Social Development, Honorable Peace Mutuzo, said that this day is used to create awareness about government programs and protect women as they perform the critical role of ensuring food security at households and national level, and also provide a platform for rural women and policymakers to share experiences on food security and resource management.
Friday, 15th of October 2021, Uganda will join the rest of the world to commemorate the International Day for Rural Women. The day is celebrated annually on every 15th of October, and this year, the International Day of the Rural Women is being celebrated under the global theme, the virtual role that rural women play in climate action. Uganda has adopted the international theme for our national celebrations. The National Day for Rural Women is commemorated in recognition of the claim of the critical role and contribution of the rural women in enhancing agriculture and rural development, improving food security, and eradicating rural poverty. This day is used to create awareness about government policies and programs in place to support and safeguard women as they perform their critical role in ensuring food security at household and national level. And it also provides a platform for rural women and policymakers to share experiences and acknowledge the issue of food security, climate change, and national resource management. The day also provides government and other partners an opportunity to reflect on the needs and challenges that impede women's meaningful participation in national economy and identifying strategies for accelerating progress towards enhancing their contribution to sustainable economic development.
The minister further said that although women are making big strides, there are serious challenges that still stand in their way in pursuit of business opportunities, which are more diverse and are being aggravated by a number of factors, including climate change.
That although women are making big strides, there are serious bottlenecks that still stand in their way in the pursuit of business opportunities. The challenges are more adverse for women who live in rural areas than those who live in urban areas. These are being aggravated by a number of factors, including climate change, as the world faces an increasing critical need to address climate change. The important role that women and girls have on building resilience is undeniable. Women interact more with nature while ensuring food security and household nutrition, as evidenced by the high burden of unpaid care and domestic responsibilities that they shoulder. Women also collect biomass, fuel, manually, process food materials, and pump water. 80% of the households without piped water rely on women and girls for water collection.
National events to commemorate this day will be held in Galilaya Sub-County, Kayunga District, in solidarity with women, men, children, and community members who live daily with the challenges of rising water levels on Lake Victoria that have caused floods, leading to displacement and agriculture disruption.
Let's take a very quick short break. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News, The Right to Know. The World Court, also known as the International Court of Justice, has ruled largely in favor of Somalia in its dispute with Kenya setting a sea boundary in part of the Indian Ocean. The new boundary, drawn by the International Court of Justice, mostly followed the line proposed by Somalia, attributing to its several offshore oil blocks claimed by Kenya.
The International Court of Justice found that Kenya, which did secure some territory beyond the Somalia proposal, had failed to prove there was an established sea boundary between the states which would have given it a greater portion of the disputed territory. Kenya previously accused the International Court of Justice of bias and said it will not accept the ruling. The case concerned a 38,000 square mile triangle in the Indian Ocean that is thought to be rich in oil and gas. The dispute has been at the heart of a diplomatic row between the two East African neighbors. Judge Joan Donogo said that the revised maritime border along the exclusive economic zones for the continental shelves of Somalia and Kenya achieves an equitable solution. The ruling comes after Nairobi last week said it had revoked recognition of the court's jurisdiction. No one for Kenya was officially present either in court or via a video link.
The former Central African Republic leader Mohamed Said Abdul Khan on Tuesday appeared before the International Criminal Court on war crimes and crimes against humanity. We have more. Mohamed Said Abdel Khan, an alleged leader of the Seleka, a rebel coalition drawn largely from the Kurds Muslim minority, is accused of running 2 detention centers during the country's brutal 2013 civil war. Karim Khan, ICC chief prosecutor, said that this is a detention case and where the evidence overwhelmingly shows that Mr. Said was in the room where it happened with the hall below, which is the location where many of those unfortunate souls were placed in terrible conditions without toilet, food or any type of care. Karim further added, literally standing on their heads, trampling on their dignity, stamping on their rights, he cannot plead ignorance. The ICC, based in The Hague, is deciding whether 14 charges of war crimes and crimes against humanity against Said, including torture and outrages of personal dignity, should move ahead to trial. Prosecutors alleged that Said, 51, oversaw a catalogue of misery and personally mistreated opponents accused of supporting former leader Francois Bozize, whom the Seleke had driven out of power. The court had that prisoners were kept with just a bucket for a toilet, tied in stress positions, handcuffed together for weeks, subjected to fake drownings, and had their heads covered with paper-filled hoods. Central African authorities handed Said to the ICC in January over his alleged role in the sectarian violence that embroiled the country 8 years ago. The trial of the 1987 assassination of Thomas Sankara has been adjourned to October 25th after the defense lawyers asked for more time to prepare their case. 2 defense lawyers appointed by the court asked for a postponement of the trial by 1 month in the name of the truth, arguing that they had not had enough time to study the 20,000 documents in the file.
Judge Ambroise Farama, the plaintiff's lawyer, said that the request of the defendant's counsel for a reasonable period of time to examine the documents in the file is a request that seemed to them to be well-founded in principle, which is why, as counsel for the civil party, they did not formulate any particular objections. On the other hand, he rejected a request to record the debates on camera as demanded by the civil party. The plaintiff hoped to archive the proceeding for future reference by the younger generations. The judge Prosper Farama, plaintiff's lawyer, said that they had hoped, although this trial could have been recorded because they believe that it is a part of the great history of Burkina Faso that is being written through this trial. He added that it would have been good for the future generations and for them to have reliable archives to allow the memory community of that country to remember what happened in 1987 and to learn from it, even though the court decided otherwise. As expected, the main defendant, Blaise Compaoré, was not present on Monday morning at the court, which was relocated to another hall that can hold about 300 people.
Moving on, 6 women and 9 children in Nigeria that had been kidnapped several months ago have managed to escape their captors. According to Nigerian officials, the women and children had to walk for 6 days until reaching safety. The 15 hostages were kidnapped separately from farming communities in Borno State's Chibok district. Borno State's Governor Babagana Zulum appealed to all Borno lives and Nigerians to continue to pray so that they can bring an end of fighting in the region and have absolute peace. He added that as a government, they are working with security agencies and other stakeholders to enhance that other daughters return home. It was not clear who kidnapped the women, but they have escaped from what is a known enclave for Islamic State-linked extremists. In 2014, more than 200 schoolgirls were kidnapped by extremist group Boko Haram active in the region. Let's once again take a very quick short break. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News, the right to know. In our business news today, the Tanzanian government has restarted talks with energy giants aimed at exploring the country's gas reserves and expects to start work in 2023 and last until 2028. Since 2019, the talks have been on hold.
The objective of the talk is to unlock $30 billion worth of investment to the development of gas fields as well as to build an LNG export facility. Most of the discoveries are in offshore blocks situated close to the southern border with Mozambique, whose own gas ambitions have recently been hit by conflict in the province of Cabo Delgado. Tanzania hopes to export gas to neighboring countries such as Kenya, Uganda, and Rwanda, as well as breaking its over-reliance on hydroelectricity. The Tanzanian government expects works to start in 2023 and last until 2028. The country's estimated recoverable natural gas reserves amount to more than 57 trillion cubic feet.
In our health news today, South African Biotech Consortium is working on a messenger RNA jab based on the Moderna formula in a groundbreaking drive to end Africa's life-threatening lack of COVID vaccines. Cape Town-based Afrigen Biologics and Vaccines is leading a pilot project backed by the UN's World Health Organization and the COVAX initiative, which seeks to tweak Moderna's revolutionary drug. The goal is an mRNA vaccine that suits poorer countries in hot climates. More than 10 months after the world's first COVID shot was administered and nearly 2 years into the pandemic itself, barely 5% of eligible Africans have been fully immunized. The problem has exposed Africa's huge dependence on imported vaccines and its tech weakness compared with Europe, China, and the United States. Research and development at a 130 million rand facility started 3 months ago, and talks are underway Moderna for a licensing agreement to use the basic formula. The Medicines Patent Pool, an international organization that works to facilitate the development of medicines for low and middle-income countries, is leading negotiations with Moderna. Moderna last week announced plans to build a state-of-the-art mRNA facility in Africa to churn out up to 500 million vaccine doses annually. Johnson & Johnson has an operational fill and finish a plant in South Africa, and Pfizer/BioNTech have partnered with BioVac to bottle their mRNA vaccine starting next year. Biotech billionaire Patrick Soon-Shiong is also planning to start transferring technology to begin vaccine production in 2022. Elsewhere on the continent, several COVID vaccine production facilities are in the pipeline, including in Algeria, Egypt, Morocco, Nigeria, Rwanda to Senegal. In our sports news today, the government of Uganda has made a tremendous financial contribution to all the athletes who represented the country at the Tokyo 2020 Games in Japan. At least every athlete of the 25 who qualified to represent Uganda at the postponed Olympics smiled home with a penny.
The official handover of the money was done at the National Council of Sports premises in Lugogo, Kampala during an event held at Copper Chimney Restaurant on Monday, Tuesday, 12th October 2021. Every gold medal was rewarded with 50 million shillings, a silver medal rewarded by 30 million shillings, and bronze cost 20 million shillings, whilst the rest of the athletes who made the grade each home 1 million both for the main Olympics and Paralympics. State Minister of Sports Honorable Dennis Hamson Obua, the General Secretary of the National Council for Sports Dr. Bernard Patrick Ogwell, Commissioner of Physical Education and Sports Reverend Duncan Mugumya, Federation representatives and the 4 medalists attended. Double Olympic medalist Joshua Cheptegei, winner of the 5,000 meter gold and 10,000 meter silver, Peruth Cheptegei, gold medal winner of 3,000 meter steeplechase, Jacob Kiplimo, bronze medalist in 10,000 meters, and Para-Olympian David Emong all graced the event. Quoting from the Holy Book of the Bible in 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 6, Honorable Obua asserted that every hard worker who puts in effort ought and deserves to be rewarded accordingly. Obua also noted that Uganda's sports subsector is no longer a liability but a huge asset, as he urged the sportsmen and women to invest immensely for the future unknown. Dr. Ogwell remarked that recognizing sportsmen and women is a way of government to fully embrace and appreciate the sportsmen and women. Now focus and attention switches to planning and preparation for Commonwealth Games in 2022.
That was the news. Thank you for always joining us. Please do stay tuned. The more programming coming your way.